So my name's Kirk Strawn. I'm a family physician, and for a living, I help run a company that I founded called Pop Healthcare, and I help run the company I founded named Walter. The name Walter came from a truck, and back in the late 1800s, there was a company called the Walter Truck Company, and we found an old Walter truck, and it really looked like the shape of a giant Volkswagen bus. And this idea popped into my head of maybe we could make this thing into a giant Volkswagen bus. What we do with Walter is we give people a creative outlet, and all of the things that we have, we've built together. And so you can think of it as an artist collective of sorts, but most of the people don't come into it thinking that they're artists. They are engineers, or they might be a mechanic, or they might have no connection to the work that we're doing, and they'll come in and take part in a project, and they get to be part of building something that they could never do on their own. One of the things that we've found is that when you put grown adults in front of gigantic things that are scaled up, so like a Volkswagen bus or a Volkswagen Beetle or a dog car, whatever it happens to be, somehow that elicits a response in many, many people where they are more playful and childlike to some degree. If you stand in front of Walter, you're about the size of a 4-year-old maybe, and you can't help it. That sort of happens to you when you're around these giant things. All of our projects start with something old and something that we value and that we see the potential to have a second life. And so we were rolling around a number of different ideas, and we were thinking about how we would modify an old film studio from the 1940s. And one of the people who was there said, well, maybe it's a house. And somehow that single statement grew into this shared vision of this enormous house, one that's so big you can't even reach the doorknob. Part of the idea of the Walter Project is to create community. And so we are building this in downtown Phoenix, and in an area that has needed to have a boost. And so we are going to build community here, and what better way than to have a home? I think it's just such a logical idea. Build a giant house, and then you have a big home that you can share with a lot of people. We'll rent this place out for events. We'll have a performance space. We have for a while been throwing big parties and having performances, so we'll have a performance space in it. But it's not about money. It's really about an economically sustainable future and doing it in a way that engages the community and where we get the fun of building something giant. I think of myself as just a little part of a very big, complex picture. And I like to see if I can alter that bigger picture through my own will and creativity. And what I've learned is that you can do that only to a certain degree with just yourself. But if you look around and look at what exists in reality, you're going to see all of these enormous things like Hoover Dam or a gigantic building or people, going out into space. And none of those are done by one person alone. So I think looking for and trying to understand how large things get done, and what everyone will ultimately figure out is that it's by working together with other people. And so figure out how to work with other people, because that's the only way you get to do anything really big.